We live in a world obsessed with meritocracy. From the time we are children, we are taught that if we want something, we must earn it through effort, behavior, or status. But when we step into the realm of the spiritual, we encounter a concept that shatters this human logic: the doctrine of grace. It is the unmerited favor of God, a divine paradox where the Creator gives His best to those who deserve it least. It is not a paycheck for a job well done. It is a gift from a Father who loves His creation beyond measure. To understand grace, we must first understand our need for it. Without this supernatural intervention, we are left to our own devices, struggling to bridge a gap that is infinitely wide. This video is a deep dive into the benefit package that comes when we stop trying to climb the ladder of works and start resting in the finished work of Jesus Christ. We are going to explore 12 specific life-altering blessings that are guaranteed to every believer under this new covenant. The first and perhaps most vital benefit is the total removal of the death penalty. Sin carries a price, a debt that we are legally and spiritually unable to pay on our own. The doctrine of grace tells us that the debt has been settled in full by another. When Christ shouted, "It is finished," from the cross, He was declaring that the ledger was wiped clean for everyone who would put their trust in Him. This is your get out of prison for eternity card, signed in the blood of the Lamb. Imagine the weight that lifts when you truly realize you are no longer under condemnation. You can go to bed at night with a soul at total rest, knowing that your eternal destination is not determined by your performance today, but by Christ's performance 2,000 years ago. Romans 8:1 is your foundational rock here. There is now no condemnation. You aren't just on probation. You are fully pardoned and set free to live a life of peace rather than a life of fear. For centuries, the law served as a mirror, showing humanity its flaws and its inability to reach God's standard of holiness. While the law is good, it has no power to save. It only has the power to convict. Grace delivers us from this crushing weight. We are no longer required to follow a code list of do's and don'ts to win God's approval. The handwriting of requirements that was against us has been nailed to the cross, ending the era of religious slavery and ushering in the era of spiritual liberty. Being delivered from the law doesn't mean we live without a moral compass. Rather, it means our motivation has changed. We don't obey to get God's love. We obey because we have God's love. The Holy Spirit becomes our internal guide, writing God's desires upon our hearts. You are moving from the oldness of the letter, which kills, to the newness of the Spirit, which gives life. It is the transition from being a servant who fears the whip to being a son who loves the Father. Sin, by its very nature, creates distance. It is a chasm that no human effort can leap across. But the doctrine of grace is a bridge-building force. Through the blood of Christ, those who were far off are suddenly brought near. This isn't just a change in location. It's a change in essence. You aren't just standing in the outer courts anymore. You have been invited into the Holy of Holies. The veil has been torn, and the barrier between the finite and the infinite has been removed forever. This proximity is made permanent through the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. The moment you believe, God places His very Spirit inside you as a seal. This is the ultimate intimacy. The Creator of the stars making His home within the human heart. You are never out of range or disconnected. Whether you are in a crowded room or the loneliest desert, you are as close to God as your own breath, because His Spirit is now joined to yours. We often forget that we are born into a spiritual conflict. Before grace, the Bible describes us as walking according to the course of this world, under the influence of the prince of the power of the air. We were captives in a kingdom of darkness, often unaware of the chains holding us back. Grace acts as a divine rescue mission. It is a forceful intervention where God reaches into the shadows, breaks the grip of the enemy, and pulls us into the safety of His light. This deliverance is not a suggestion, it is a finished fact. Colossians 1 verse 13 tells us He has delivered us. The past tense is crucial. You aren't waiting to be rescued. You have already been extracted from the enemy's jurisdiction. While the darkness may still try to whisper and intimidate, it no longer has legal authority over your life. You have been relocated to a higher ground where the shadows have no power to stay. When you are rescued from darkness, you aren't just left in a spiritual vacuum. You were immediately naturalized as a citizen of a new realm. The doctrine of grace conveys us into the kingdom of the Son of His love. This is a kingdom that is not of this world. It doesn't rely on political power, military might, or economic shifts. It is an eternal, unshakable government based on righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Spirit. As a member of this kingdom, you are a dual citizen. While your feet are on earth, your heart and your true allegiance belong elsewhere. This gives you a perspective that the world cannot understand. You can look at the chaos of earthly nations and remain unmoved, knowing that your King is on the throne and your true home is secure. You are an ambassador of this kingdom, representing the values of your home country in a foreign land. Justification is a legal standing that goes beyond simple forgiveness. Forgiveness means the charges are dropped. Justification means you are declared righteous. It is the divine exchange where your sin was placed on Christ and His perfect record was placed on you. When the Father looks at a believer, He doesn't see a reformed sinner. He sees the radiant holiness of His own Son. It is quite literally as if you had never sinned. This provides a foundation for peace that is unshakable. Most people spend their lives trying to justify their existence through their careers, their families, or their reputations. But the believer is already justified by the highest court in existence. This ends the war with your conscience. You no longer have to live in the shadow of your past or the shame of your failures, because you have been given a new identity and a clean slate that can never be tarnished. While our standing is perfect the moment we believe, our daily walk is a process of growth. Grace doesn't just save us from our past, it prepares us for our future. God is the master sculptor, and you are his workmanship. He begins a process of sanctification, setting you apart for his specific holy purposes. He takes your unique personality, your talents, and even your scars, and begins to weave them into a masterpiece that reflects his glory. This perfecting isn't about human effort to become better. It's about the Spirit's power to make us more like Christ. Hebrews 10 verse 14 gives us this beautiful tension. By one offering he has perfected us forever, yet we are being sanctified. You are a work in progress in the most capable hands in the universe. Your flaws are simply the places where his grace will shine the brightest as he continues to refine you day by day. This is perhaps the most intimate of all benefits. God didn't just save you to be a subject in his kingdom. He saved you to be a child in his family. The doctrine of grace provides us with the spirit of adoption. This is a legal and relational transition from being an outsider to being an heir. You have been chosen, wanted, and brought into the inner circle of the divine family, with all the rights and privileges that come with the family name. Adoption changes the way you talk to God. You don't approach him as a distant, terrifying deity, but as Abba, a term of deep, childlike endearment. That means you have a seat at the table. You are not a guest. You are a son or a daughter. This relationship is the source of your security. An employer can fire you, and a friend can leave you, but a father's love is a permanent bond that cannot be revoked. Imagine having the private cell phone number of the most powerful person on earth. You could call at any time and they would answer. Grace gives us something infinitely better. 24-hour, 7-day-a-week access to the King of Kings. Because you are an adopted child, the waiting room of heaven is always empty for you. You don't need a human intermediator or a special ritual to speak to your Father. You have boldness to enter the throne room of grace in your time of need. This access is the lifeblood of the Christian walk. It means that in your darkest hour, in your moment of temptation, or in your season of joy, you are only a thought away from the Creator. He is never too busy, and your problems are never too small. Whether he answers with a yes, a no, or a wait, the benefit is the access itself, the comfort of knowing that the ruler of all things is listening to your heart. In the Old Covenant, only a select few could serve as priests, but under the doctrine of grace, every believer is elevated to a royal priesthood. This means you have a divine vocation. You are a bridge builder between God and man. When you pray for a hurting neighbor, when you share the gospel with a friend, or when you offer a hand to the needy, you are functioning in your priestly office. You represent God to the people and the people to God. This benefit gives your life a profound sense of purpose. You aren't just taking up space on this planet. You are an agent of the new covenant. You carry the light of Christ into the darkest corners of your community. As a priest, your life becomes a spiritual sacrifice acceptable to God. Every act of kindness and every word of truth is a part of your service in the temple of the world, helping others discover the same grace that saved you. As we conclude our deep dive, we look forward toward the horizon. Grace provides the true greatest anchors for the soul, a present promise and a future hope. The present promise is His presence. He has sworn, I will never leave you nor forsake you. You will never face a trial, a hospital room, or a lonely night without the Holy Spirit standing by your side. You are never, ever alone. The future hope is an incorruptible inheritance. This world is faded, and everything in it will eventually rust or fail. But the inheritance waiting for you in heaven is undefiled and does not fade away. It is an eternity of bliss, adventure, and discovery in the presence of the one who loved you first. This is the ultimate benefit package, a life of peace now and a life of glory forever. This is the true power of the doctrine of grace. This is Gary Goodworth, webmaster of AnunseenWorld.com. Thank you for being with me today. I will see you in the next video. God bless.